So we'll do shoeing first. Why would you shoe your horse?
If you have a horse that has like sensitive.
I think she's saying sensitive feet. Why else would you shoe your horse?
If you live somewhere with loads of rocks and their feet just get chip loads.
Yeah. So if you live somewhere very dry land, and your horse gets very dried feet, why else?
You want to do like road work?
Yeah, lots of road work, your horse will get sore. Any other reasons?
If you have like
we keep losing Toto. Why else might you shoe your horse? Esme, what would you not be able to do with your horse if you didn't have shoes on?
Put studs in.
Yeah, so studs. Why else?
Got to road work.
Yeah, for road work. And also for any corrective farriery. Supports the hoof. And yeah, any corrective farriery. If your horse has a bad, like needs help with its hooves or has a lameness issue, then shoes can help with that. Okay, so what are some key features of, does everyone know what a normal, like what shoe you have on your horse?
Metal one.
A metal one, that's a good start. What type of metal?
It's steel and it has little tungsten bits. It has a little tungsten thing in it.
Okay. Who else? Does anyone know what their shoe? What type of shoe their shoe is?
A hunter.
Yeah, I don't know who's saying that. Who said that? Hunter. Yeah. So Bella said hunter shoe. That's probably what most of you have, unless you have a specialist shoe. So, can you tell me what makes it a hunter shoe?
No.
No, that's fine.
But
Anyone got any idea?
It's like a generic, isn't it? It's very just classic.
It is, yeah. It's the normal, most general. We'll have a look. I'll do a screen share and we can have a look. Alison. I'm gonna have to ring her to let me screen share. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm just doing it. Okay. I'm on it.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you. Right. So hunter shoe is this. So what are two features of that shoe that are different to this shoe?
It's got like more grip.
Yeah. So more grip. So what gives it more grip?
The like shape on top. So it's like it's got a bigger groove.
Yeah. Does anyone know what the groove is called? So when you have the groove that goes all the way around, that's called a fullard shoe. This is a half fullard shoe because it's just got the little grooves. So fullard shoe, and as you say, it gives you good grip. What's the other difference between these two shoes?
It's got one's more sloped. Like
Yeah. So that is called a concave. So again, the hunter shoe will have a concave inner edge. Does anyone know what that does?
It reduces suction.
Yeah, so reduces suction, very good. So yeah, because of the shape of it, it won't get stuck, so particularly good. The reason it's called a hunter shoe is because of that, more grip and less suction, so the shoe is more likely to stay on. What else do you have on a normal shoe that's not on this shoe?
Toe clips.
Yeah, toe clips, or what are the other, if they're not toe?
Quarter clip.
Yeah, quarter clips. So where would you find toe clips? Where would you find quarter clips normally?
Toe clips on the front, and then quarter clips like on either side.
Yeah, and when might your farrier change this? So if your horse gets a sore toe, or the toe grows quite quickly, they might put quarter clips in front. If your horse pulls its shoes off quite easily, they might try quarter clips because it's two things to hold on to in front rather than one. It's that type of thing. But if your horse does have anything different, ask your farrier why. Different farriers will do different things. Do you think this is a hind shoe or a front shoe?
Fine.
Why? Yeah, why?
Because it's less rounded.
Yeah, so more oval. So that would be a front shoe shape. That would be a hind shoe shape. What would you? So that's a hunter shoe, and that's the most common because it's got it's fullered, and it's got a concave edge. What is this shoe? Any ideas? So this is the bar shoe. So the heel would be at the top of the screen. The toe would be at the bottom of the screen. And it's called a bar shoe because you've got that straight bar connecting the heel. What is the point of a heel of a bar shoe?
Kind of a guess, but to support the heel.
Yep, so supports the heel. So it supports the heel because there's more areas to weight bear. So it's good if you've got a horse that has a collapsed heel or just needs general support in the heel. It might have a bruised heel, that type of thing. It's also good for a horse that just generally suffers with sore feet because if it can put more weight on its heel, it can take weight off of its toes. Okay, what is that shoe? So this one is an egg bar shoe. So similar to the bar shoe, but more circular. What difference do you think it makes it being more circular? No ideas?
It has a larger area on the floor, so it's more grippy.
Largest surface area is right.
Yeah.
It's not grip, it's for support though. So
right.
yes, larger surface area. So the larger surface area means it basically does the same as a bar shoe, but to a higher extent. So it really takes the weight off the heel. And how that will fit is it will stick out significantly behind the heel of the horse. So there'll be basically no weight going directly onto the heel. So this is if you've got a horse that's got a very sore heel or has an injury down its leg, because if it's supporting the heel, it's also supporting the leg. The danger of them is they stick out so far that you couldn't do too much in them because there's a high chance of your horse overreaching and stepping on it. What about this one?
A heart bar.
Heart bar, good. And what is the point of a heart bar?
Isn't it for if they're like fetlocks get really, their foot, I can't really describe it. Their foot gets really wonky. It goes forward loads.
Goes forward loads. That's more, that would be a different type of shoe, but it is a heart bar. It's basically an even higher increased version of this, so it gives support on the frog as well. So it's designed for horses with that maybe struggle from navicular or laminitis or something like that. So it really takes the weight off of the foot and the heel. What would you say about this shoe? What's the point of this?
A rolled toe shoe.
Yeah, rolled toe. So why do you have a rolled toe? So it's to do with the horse's breakover point, which if you do a test, you'll have to know quite a bit about. But the breakover point is basically how far their leg goes before their toe rolls over. So if you watch your horse walking, you'll see that its leg goes before its toe goes. And the farrier should watch your horse walk and trot up to see your horse's breakover point. So some horses need have help making their breakover point a bit earlier. So a rolled toe will help that because it will encourage the toe to roll. What about this shoe? What's this shoe?
An aluminium one for race.
Isn't that
Yeah.
racehorses?
Yeah. And what would you call a racing shoe? Has a specific name.
A plate.
Yeah. So racing plate. And why is it made out of aluminium?
So it's lighter and it's not
Yeah.
heavy on their legs.
Yeah, so main reason is because it's lighter. So have a look at a load of different types of shoes. This is just a load more. They're all obviously quite hot oil, but you can see egg bar, hot bar, bar shoes, thick shoes, shoes with wedges on. So why might the shoe have a wedge on? It's not commonly used, but why might it have a bit of a wedge?
If the foot's got a massive chunk out of it.
Probably not. They're probably nowadays fill it in with something, but that's probably what some of these were used for, because they all look quite old. Why would it have like a wedges in, like a bit of a heel or a lift at the toe? So same as I was talking about before, so it's the breakover point. So if your horse struggles with this breakover point, then having a bit of a lift at the heel will encourage it to happen earlier. A lift at the toe will encourage it to happen later. So that would be very much corrective shoeing. So if your horse has a proper problem and it's going to be made lame by it. What else might you have, like, as well as your shoe? So you might put it in the shoe, between the hoof and the shoe in the summer. And it is what I'm talking about.
They like plastic pad things.
Yeah, so pads. They don't have to be plastic, so you can get them plastic, rubber, leather. There's loads of different variations, but yeah, pads. Why might you have a pad?
If your horse has like a really sensitive foot.
Yeah, so a horse that's got sore feet. So some horses have them on in the summer, some horses have them year round. What's the problem with a pad? Does it give you any grip? No, so they're really slippy because you're then just on a sheet basically. So they can be slippy. And they can break, so they can be expensive. If your horse has broken its hoof wall, for example, and then say you can't put nails in it, what might your farrier do instead?
Just make them go barefoot and then just don't do any road work or anything.
Yeah, they could do. What if you were, say, in the middle of the eventing season and needed shoes on?
Fill it up with loads of that putty stuff.
So either put putty in it. How else might they attach the shoe to the hoof without using nails?
Glue.
Yeah, glue, so they can glue the shoe on, but it's not as secure. Okay, so farrier's tools. Is number one. Any ideas?
Pliers.
Good guess. No. Any other ideas?
A hoof
Any?
nipper.
Pardon?
A hoof nipper.
Not quite. So the top ones are called pincers. So they're the ones that touch. And or pincers or shoe pullers. So they are used for pulling the shoe off. They can be used for cutting the ends of the clenches. What about number two? So number two is the hoof cutter. So they either, one edge will be a bit squarer or they won't quite overlap. And that's to cut the excess hoof off. Why does it not overlap, or why is it not sharp like the pincer is? So it's to get a bit of grip on the hoof. They don't necessarily want to cut all the way through. They might want to get a bit of grip on the underneath and cut from the outside. So that's why. Okay, what is number 3?
Rasp.
Rasp, good. And what do they use the rasp for?
Just like filing down the hoof. So like overgrown bits.
Yeah. What about number 4? What's number 4?
A hammer.
Yeah.
Yep, good. When would they use the hammer?
Putting the nails in.
Yeah, good. What's 5?
Like the
Clenches.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the
So
actual
it's
nail?
Yeah, so the clenches are the end of the nail. What you call that is the nail clencher. So because it's into clenches. What about number 6?
A nail basherinera.
No.
Nice.
Any other ideas?
Is it a clinch cutter?
Someone said it right. Someone said buffer.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. Poppy, you're very quiet. Buffer, yeah. So yeah, that's buffer. What is the buffer used for?
Knocking up the clenches.
Yeah, good. What about what's number 7?
A knife.
Oh,
It is. Go on, Poppy.
the paring knife.
Yeah, so there's lots of different names for it. So there's paring knife, toe knife, or drawing knife. It's basically used for cleaning up the inside of the hoof, and also to make space for any clenches. What's number 8? Pritchel, yeah. And what do you use that for? And it is?
Holding
So yeah, go on.
holding the hot shoe.
Yeah, holding or moving a hot shoe around. Okay, so we're just going to run through that again. What is number 1?
Pincers.
Yeah, number 2?
Hoof cutters.
Yeah, anyone other than Poppy for number 3?
Rasp.
Good. Number 4?
Hammer.
Good. 5?
Clinchers. Wait, no.
Nail clencher.
No, okay.
Anyone other? I think that's Bella. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Anyone else for number 6?
Buffer.
Yeah, good. Number 7?
Paring knife.
Yeah, paring during a toe knife. Number 8.
Pritchel.
Yeah. So thinking about that, how are we gonna take a shoe off using these things? We're gonna go, Archie, what's the first thing you're gonna do to take a shoe off?
You'd use, what's number 6 called again? Sorry.
Buffer.
Buffer. You'd use the buffer to
Yeah.
undo the clenches at the top of the nail.
Yeah, what will you use along with the buffer to lift the clenches?
Hammer.
Yeah. So buffer and clenches. Good. Okay.
The pinchers and go. Oh, sorry. Shall I stop?
Poppy, what would you do next? Oh, Poppy's really quiet. You might be taking over again.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, Poppy.
Sorry. You use the pincers.
Yeah. How would you take it off? Would you go like?
You go from the heel and you like go round like that.
Yeah. So heel one side then the other, as you say. Pull it off. So you got the shoe off. Oh, I can't see who it is. I can only see foreheads. Oh, who's that? Lottie. What would you do then, Lottie White? So shoe is off.
Like trim the foot.
Yeah. So prepare the hoof. So heel. The farrier will trim. He'll use the toe knife, paring knife, drawing knife to trim the inside of the hoof and also the frog. He'll use the the hoof cutters to trim around the toe, and he'll use the rasp to tidy it up. So that's preparing the hoof. Then what will he do? I still can't see names. Lottie, other Lottie. Lottie Ed? Let's say he's hot shoeing. What's he going to do then?
Test the shoe to see how much he needs to change it, and then make it hot and make it the right shape.
Yep. Good. What will he do next? Let's go, Esme.
Put it, once it's like the right shape, put it in a bucket of cold water.
How's he going to test it's the right shape first?
By putting it onto the foot.
Yep. And what's he looking for?
Black.
Yeah.
Line
A continuous black line that's not too thick or too thin anywhere. And then, as you say, put it into a bucket of cold water. What will he do next? Anyone?
He'll start to.
So the shoe's the right size. Yeah.
With like, well, once you feel that it's the right shape and that it fits on the horse's foot and it's like cold enough, he'll start to put it on with the nails.
Good. Yeah. How many nails will he use?
Well, it depends how many.
Depends on the horse.
Yeah.
Depends on the horse. Yeah, it depends on the horse. It also depends on the farrier. What's the most common, or some of the most common?
8.
Yeah, 4 and 4. Another common one is 3 on the inside, 4 on the outside. But it depends on your farrier. So next time your farrier is there, chat to them about what they prefer and why. Okay, so he's hammered the nails in. What's he gonna do next?
Then use. Oh, what's it? I always forget what 6 is called.
That's the
Buffer.
What's he gonna do with the buffer?
Use the buffer and hammer it underneath the top of the clench. I'm not sure why,
Yeah.
but that's
So
just
you can either use the buffer, as you're saying, and make a little ridge underneath where the end of the nail is, so that when he clenches it down, it has a gap to go into. Or you can use the rasp to do that. What else is he going to do with the clenches?
file them so they're not sticking out of the foot.
So not quite, but
Clip
that
them.
is where you get to. So yeah, clip them. So either use the pincers or the other end of the hammer to get the end of the excess nail off. And then, as you say, either use the buffer and the hammer or the rasp to make a little ridge, and then use the nail clenchers to bend the end of the nail down. The one thing we forgot to mention is that he'll want to either rasp or use the toe knife to make space for the quarter or toe clips. And once he's done that, just to finish off, what's he going to do?
File.
Yeah. One final rasp around to finish. Right, we're going to watch Farrier do hot shoeing. Why would you hot shoe over cold shoeing?
So you can change the shape of the shoe to what you want.
Yeah, you can do a more accurate shoe. Are you allowed to take shoes off yourself?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean,
I swear it's illegal.
No, it's not illegal to take the shoe off. It is illegal to put a shoe back on though. So you're allowed to take a shoe off in an emergency. You're not allowed to do it just for the fun of it. But if your horse is it's hanging off, or it's obviously being caused a lot of pain and you can't get Farrier out, so it's the middle of the night, then you're allowed to. Or you're somewhere there's not a Farrier. You're definitely not allowed to put a shoe back on, and it's advised not to take a shoe off unless you're trained. Okay, so we're just going to watch. So using the buffer and the hammer to lift the clenches. like that. So that's how the buffer's used. And then he's going to use the pincers to pull, as we said before, heel forward, and they'll pull it down as he's doing towards the toe. Pull it off that way. Okay. And then he's going to trim the hoof and make it all tidy again. So that's the, you see there's the slight difference between the paring knife and the toe knife. So that first one was the toe knife. This is more of a drawing knife or a paring knife. So he's trimming it all down, trimming all the dead hoof off, getting rid of some of the frog. And what your farrier should always do is, once he's done trimming, is hold the hoof. He does it in a sec, so he's now doing hoof cutting. Hold the hoof down and see whether it's in balance. So you want, when you look down the hoof towards the floor, it should be level. So in a second, he holds it loosely by the fetlock as he puts it down there. Hang on, there. And he's just checking it's level. And your farrier should always do that. And if it's not, he would rasp it a bit more. So now it's all done. He's taking the shoe. He's putting the same shoe back on. By the looks of, no, he's not. He's putting a new shoe on. So he's getting it out. He's putting it on the anvil. That's what that thing is called. And he knows roughly what he's doing. So he's going to do that first, as you can see. You can see the pincer is there, ready. So once he's happy with the rough shape, and this is why it's an advantage for your farrier to know your horse, because it'll know what it normally needs, that type of thing. Once he's done that, he'll get the pincer, the pritchel, hammer it in, and he now has a handle. And then, as we saw before, he's going to lift it, put it on, and we're going to see where it scalds. So this is also the reason you might not use hot shoeing on some horses, is this might freak them out. It obviously doesn't hurt them, but it smells bad and there's a lot of smoke. So he's now going to trim. So the black line is quite thick around his toe. So he's also getting the toe clip ready. It's really important they don't over trim or over rasp, because that can cause serious soreness. So now he's going to check it again. But you can already see the black line's all right. It's a bit thicker at the front than it is around the sides. And it's not quite touching all the way around on the left-hand side from where we're looking as much as it is on the right. So he's then just going to do a bit more trimming. So there, where it's a bit thicker, sort it out of it. Make sure it's definitely good. Check once more. And then at this point, he's either going to make more adjustments and check again, or if he's happy with it, he'll then put it in a bucket of cold water, as we said. So he's, I think, making a few adjustments. Yeah. When he is ready with it, he's going to be putting it in a bucket of cold water, because you don't want to put a boiling hot shoe on your horse. Waiting for it to cool down, and then putting it back on. So putting it back on, nails in, and they'll poke out. And when they come out, you want them in a straight line. So the clenches should all be in a straight line. And he's twisting it off straight away. So you can see then with the hammer, he's, as soon as it's out, just twisting it off. Again, farriers do it in different ways. So it's worth watching your farrier, chatting to your farrier, see how they do it. So I know my farrier leaves all of the clenches till he's done the whole, like he'll do all of the nails and then sort out all the clenches. This farrier obviously does it as he goes. So he's just checking they're all in. He's done 3 and 3. And then he's going to do the final finishing up. So he does it, again, this is a farrier by farrier choice. So I think he clenches it down a little bit. Then he uses his buffer to make a gap. Then he uses the rasp. Is that the right way? No, he uses rasp first. And again, chat to your farrier, find out what they do, and then have that as what you can say to the examiner. This is what I do. So he's now, yeah, this is quite an unusual way to do your shoe. As we said before, he'd normally either use the buffer or the rasp. And then final clenching down to finish off. And then just to finish it all off, he'll rasp over the top. to make it really smooth. Does anyone have any questions about shoeing or shoes? No? Perfect. We'll move on to lameness. Okay, so how do you know if your horse is lame or not? What is a sign?
Uneven footfall.
If
Yep,
it
good.
nods its head unevenly.
It what?
Not putting any weight on the foot.
Yeah, not weight bearing. What else?
If it nods its head like unevenly when it's trotting.
Yeah, and what's that a sign? Like, what's that a sign of? Which way will the nod work? That makes sense.
So you can see when they nod their head down when they put the sore foot down, I think.
Anyone else got any other thoughts on that?
Isn't it the other way around?
Yeah, so they lift their head up when they put the sore foot down. Do you know why that is?
I don't know.
No.
So it's to take the weight off. So they're lifting their head to get the weight off of the bad foot. What else might signal to you that your horse is lame?
Their behaviour is different. Like
It's
Yeah.
not very happy.
Yeah. Anything else to do with its footfall or its movement?
stiffness.
Yeah, so stiffness. So if it's taking a shorter stride on one leg or all of the legs, if it's not lifting its legs evenly, so if one leg is going higher than the other, if it's dragging a toe, if it's swinging its legs, and there's also so front leg lameness, the easiest way to tell is the head bob. Hind limb is the easiest way is to look at their pelvis, and it's called a pelvis hike, which is when they're lame behind, and what they do is they drop their pelvis more on one side than the other. So we'll look at some videos, but those are all the things you want to be looking at and looking out for. Okay. So this is the pelvic hike one. We'll start with that. Can everyone see this? So we're watching his pelvis. And you're watching to see if one drops more than the other. So shout when you think you know which leg he's lame on. Any ideas?
The right one.
Yeah, right hind. So there's two ways we can see that. So he is dropping that right hip more. But also if you look at lower down, he's swinging that right hind out like that. And he's doing it left. So he is doing it a bit on the left hind, but less so than on the right. So that's a signal as well that he saw. So it's going to show you here. This is the height of its hip as he's taking weight. And then it will show you how far it drops down. Where is it? So it drops all the way down to there, which is quite significant when you compare it to the other hip, which is much less. So that's what they mean by pelvic hikes. So that's worth looking out for with your hind limb lameness. Okay, we're gonna watch this. This is 10 horses. And again, I want you to shout out which leg it's lame on before we get there. So horse 1. Good job, I press play. So which leg is he lame on? What do you reckon? What do you think?
Tell her it's too glitchy.
It's glitching. I can't actually see it.
Hang
It's
on.
like guttering all over the place.
Hang on. Thank you. Is this, tell me if this is better.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, no?
Slightly better, but I can't still really. I don't know about anyone else, but.
That's annoying. It worked for the last group. Can anyone else see? Is it glitching for everyone?
Yeah, it's a bit glitchy.
Yeah, I find it glitchy.
That's really annoying. Just like, see if we can make it smaller. Still get glitchy?
Yeah, but we can kind of tell, I think.
Which leg do we think it's lame on?
The left 4.
Yeah, left 4. Good. So another
Yeah.
one, where do we think it's lame?
The same.
Oh.
What do you think?
Is it lame on more than one?
Yeah.
Is it
So
on
I would say this horse is lame on all 4. This says it's lame in the front 2, but those hind legs aren't happy either. So yeah, and that's the stiffness. It's not tracking up. It's not moving normally. Its head's all over the place. It just generally looks in a lot of discomfort. Goodness, shush. Okay, which do you think this horse is lame on? See that?
the right 4?
Near 4.
Right 4. Yeah. Okay. Which do we think on this one?
The left hind one.
What do other people think?
Oh, the other one. Right hind one.
Yeah, right hind. So we'll just watch it again. So the left hind hip looks like it's moving more, but the right hind is dropping there. It's hard to see a hind lameness. So that's just a matter of practicing and watching as much as you can. Okay, what about this big one?
God, these people have loads of lame horses.
Which do you think he's lame on? It's hard to tell. I'll move. So they put stripes on his bum here. Which one looks lower? It's quite hard to see.
Right.
Yeah. So he is, as you say. Oh no, it's left hind. Sorry, that's wrong. Watch him again.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're watching that pelvic hike on the left hind, which you can see if you're looking for it. But that's just where you can get a bit deceived by it. So that's why they put the stripes on it, is that horse is quite hard to see because it's not massively obvious. Okay, next horse. So what is he lame?
Near 4.
Yeah, severely lame, left 4. You wouldn't.
God, these people must be going around like smacking their horses' legs with bricks or something. They've got loads of them.
I'm hoping it's a vet. What do we think about this one?
Yeah, good point.
What? Yeah, what do you think?
Near 4 again.
Huh?
Near 4.
No, the right one.
Yeah, that's near.
Off
isn't it?
4. Off
Oh,
4. Right one on that one. Okay, what about this? Again, this one's hard to see.
The
Right hind.
Left.
We'll just watch again.
Oh.
Right hind. We'll watch once more. So it's that drop there. And you can just see it's tilting. Its left pelvis looks a bit higher than its right pelvis, and that's what you're looking for. Okay. Horse 9. There's only 10, don't worry. Where do we think he saw?
I'm not.
Any ideas? Oh, right hand. whoops. So we'll watch that again as well. So here his left pelvis isn't really moving, whereas his right one is. So although his right one looks higher, it's moving a lot more than his left pelvis. Okay. Final horse in this video. Where's he lame? Goodness.
It's the right hind.
The right.
Yeah, it's that right hind, which you can see quite obvious. Okay, got a couple more videos. So this horse, where's he lame? What do you think?
Left hind.
Yeah, so that's left hind. It's a trotting horse, which is why it's hard to see. But he's not wanting to take weight on that left hind. That's an example again of the hike, the hip hike. What they might do. And this is head nod. So it's there, and it's just so head down on the sound limb, up on the bad limb. Okay, right. We're now going to quickly watch my horse trot up. Now this horse has a weakness. He's not technically lame, but he does have a weakness. See if you can figure out which leg is his weakness. Watch that once more. Any ideas?
Is it his left hind?
Yeah. So why do you think left hind?
On the second step, did he drag it?
I'll watch now. I think he
Or
dragged.
he like steps in, he like,
Yeah, he's not very straight, and also watch the hip there. The angle of that hip, that left hip has gone really down. So this horse, he's quite interesting. He's weak. His right hock is weak, but he's weak on the left side. So if we watch once more, you can see the right hock will wobble, but it's the left leg that really drops in the hip. So that right hock is wobbling, but then watch the drop of the hip there. So watch him move a bit more, just in general. And again, we're watching for the height of the step. So same thing in trot. He's dropping that left hip more than he's dropping the right one. So he is hip hiking. And this thing is really interesting to watch things like this, because this horse would pass a trot up. He's passed a vetting, but he will always have this weakness. And it means he's technically not 100% sound. So again, from the front view, you want to be looking, how does the horse put down his feet? Is it flat? He goes a bit heel to toe. So that's going to put concussion up his legs. So we'll watch some of that once more. So in the walk here, so he's taking the same height strides in front. Is he behind? Is he dragging one toe? So he dropped that left toe mid-stride and he crossed it over. So he's crossing it over because of the weakness, which is what Poppy noticed. So that left hind isn't going in a straight line. It's crossing over to the left as he puts it down. He's putting it under his body, more so than the right hind. And you can see it again here. He's not trotting in a direct straight line with his hind legs. And that's a weakness. And again, like I said here, you can see the impact going up his legs. And he's going heel toe. So the breakover point quickly is that point there as he takes his foot off the ground. So looking from the side, you want to see, is he dragging a toe? So no, he's not. Here, there, he dropped his right toe. So that would be a lame step. And that's his weakness in his hock. And it's partially because of the weakness in the left leg. So he didn't push off well on the left leg, the left hind, which meant that his right hind wasn't up high enough. And this is a horse you'd want more activation in his hocks, because you can see he's a bit lazy. And then same thing from the other side. So is he taking even strides? Are his front legs going as far each time? Does he look loose? Is he bobbing his head at all? And generally he's not. What if you're a farrier, the thing you'd want to do is see if he'd walk a little bit. You could just slow down his breakover point a little bit, just because he lands quite sharply on his leg, and you can see the impact going up his leg there. And it also means when you go to collect him, he gets quite deep. He goes quite deep into the ground if the ground's at all deep. So here it's just not how you trot up. So you come, you stand, someone would look around your horse. If they don't want you to walk, you'd then walk on a few strides, hop into trot in a straight line, give them their head, bring them back to walk, turn them away from you. And the important thing is to get them straight, which I didn't do here, which meant that as I went up into trot, he hopped, which isn't great. So you want to get them straight and you want them forward, because there he looks lazy behind. For your B test, what you'll be made to do is it'll either be a group of two, probably be a group of two of you, possibly more, trotting up the horses. And what will happen is one of you will trot the horse up, you walk it there, walk it back, trot it there, trot it back, while the other of you will stand with the examiner and chat to them about what you see. So you want to be talking about all these things. If the horses, because realistically no horse is going to be 100% sound, so if you can find something, if there isn't anything, then don't say anything. But if you can see a weakness, maybe don't call it a lameness, say, oh, this horse looks weak right hind because its hip is doing this or something like that, then that's good. And then you'll swap, so then you'll trot the horse up and the other person will talk about it. And like I said, in the B test, you'll walk it there, walk it back, trot it there, trot it back. Really important that you get the horse straight before you do any transitions, and also think about where you're trotting it. So if you do it at rectory, they normally do it on the road. You want to make sure the horse is in the middle of the road, because if they're on the side, then there'll be the camber, and they'll be trotting at an angle, so it won't be a very accurate representation. Okay, does anyone have any questions about any of that?
Do we trot our own horses up, or do we?
No, it would be one of rectories or wherever you do it. Normally, that's generally what happens, or at least it will be a horse you don't know.
Oh, I see. Cool.
But the best thing to do is look at as many as you can trot up and analyze it, and go into that much detail, because it's then just becomes easier to see it. Okay, any other questions? Nope. Perfect. Right, well, have a nice weekend, everybody. And see you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.